Morris. She's from
Hello.
our hometown in Arizona, and she also attends Good Shepherd United Methodist Church.
Well, oh, that is weird.
So I get 2 newsletters from Good Shepherd every month.
Yeah, that's fun. Wow, that's neat.
So, well, questions from last week.
How much protein do you have to have
You really don't need a lot of protein.
to count when you're having you said whenever you have carbohydrates you have to have a protein.
So for meals you can have that whole deck of carbs.
Right.
Or you can have a whole egg or 2 whole eggs if you want. But for snacks you can have 1 cheese stick is fine, 5 almonds is fine, just a little bit.
Like last night there were peanut butter crackers, but they were prepackaged because we were on the
I
road.
don't like those. Go ahead.
I know. It really had very little peanut butter.
See, you don't get enough protein out of those.
Well, that's why my question was how much protein.
Good. You need to have some
Okay.
extra. I mean, make your own peanut butter crackers if you can.
Mhm.
Because to eat peanut butter crackers doesn't really give you much nutrition.
So how much protein should you have in grams a day?
You really don't need very much, and I don't know how many in grams a day. I don't even know if they publish that in grams a day. I know that Americans eat way more protein than we need.
Mhm.
And if people have kidney problems, it's not a good idea to eat a ton of protein. So that's why I showed you that little deck of cards, meat, fish, or chicken for meals, and you don't need that much for snacks. So just a small amount of protein for snacks. Spoonful of cottage cheese, small thing of Greek yogurt, just whatever. Now 15 grams of protein is a lot.
If you go on FitnessPal, it'll tell, and you see how many calories that you want to have per day. It'll tell you based on how many calories you want to eat per day, how much protein you
But
should
we don't
have.
do calories. And FitnessPal is fine, and if you want to do that, you can certainly do that. But it's much more complicated than what I presented last week. So if you count calories, well, and for instance, we're just talking about carbohydrates, because carbohydrates is where the fuel comes from. And we want to have this nice even fuel injection. And you don't have to worry about calories if you're eating the correct amount of carbohydrates and you keep your fats limited. I was talking to you about when they take out the fat, they dump in the sugar. So this is a reduced fat Jiffy peanut butter. So let's just look at, and we'll just look at the calories. Total calories from this reduced fat Jiffy peanut butter for 2 tablespoons is 190. Okay. Total carbs is 15 grams, and total protein is 7 grams. Okay, this is the reduced fat. Regular creamy peanut butter, total calories 190. Did you hear that before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Total carbs 8 grams. Total protein 7 grams. So fat is flavorful. So when they take out the flavor, they dump in the sugar, which adds the same amount of what? Calories. So when we buy specialty foods,
Okay.
when we buy
That wasn't
specialty foods, we pay a ton more money. And it doesn't do us any good usually.
That still would be a protein.
It still would be a protein, but you'd also have to count it as a whole carb
Okay.
because it's 15 grams. It's more than 10 grams. In fact, it's precisely 1 carbohydrate serving. Because 15 grams is 1 carbohydrate serving. So I just wanted to share that with you because, and the same is true for salad dressings. If you get no-fat salad dressings, I mean, you really have to read the labels. So there's only really 2 things to look at with regards to the nutrition plan that we've talked about here, and that is what is the recommended serving size, and these are both 2 tablespoons. What is the recommended serving size, and if I eat that much, how many total carbs am I going to get? You don't have to worry about anything else unless you have blood pressure issues and your physician has asked you to be on a low sodium diet. And then you want to keep your sodium to 2,000 milligrams a day or 2 grams a day. But really, truly, that's the only thing you have to worry about. Any other nutrition questions?
You can lose weight on this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Has anybody tried it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing it.
And how do you feel? Any different?
Not yet.
I do. I feel empowered. So
Yeah.
I feel great about that. And every time okay, here's a real true story. Okay,
Can I
last
take
night.
your picture?
A
I
real
haven't done
true
this to
story,
anybody
don't
else but
fake
you.
true story.
Okay.
Star, okay.
Yesterday I went to Cafe Rio for dinner and I really tried to avoid going out right now. We haven't gone out hardly at all for anything because I don't know what it. So I went to Cafe Rio. So I had one taco and it's Taco Tuesday. They're only $1.75 and you get a drink and beans and rice for $2. So it's like $3.75 for a whole meal. But I got one taco only, and then I didn't eat the tortilla, and I pushed some of the rice to the side. I ate the beans though. I don't know what black beans
Good.
are. Are
Black beans, a half a cup is one serving.
Lots of protein.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and actually, beans or legumes are counted as carbohydrates. Even though they do have proteins, they're not a complete protein. But beans and rice are complete protein, but they're both carbohydrates. So you could have had a third cup of the rice. That would have been one.
Yeah, I realized that they do more than.
That
Yeah.
you could have had. Probably the bean serving was. It may have been a half cup. It may have been a little more than a half cup. But half a cup is one serving.
Right.
And the corn tortilla is one serving.
But I didn't have that.
Right.
I-
So did you get enough carbohydrate? That's my question.
Yeah, because here was my mistake. It came with a drink, and I had the horchata, which is delicious. It reminds me of something my mother would make, and it's really, really good. I came home and I tried to find the nutrition information on it. They had nutrition information on everything else, but not the horchata drink.
Is horchata the
Horchata is very high
The
because it's
fruit?
got
Yes.
the fruit,
No,
right.
no fruit. It is milk, rice, tapioca, cinnamon, whatever it is, but it's
But-
delicious.
Yes, but that's going to be a ton of carbs.
It is.
Yes,
it's lots
it
of carbs.
was. And so I came home and I looked up horchata recipes to see how much it was. I was like, oh my God, like one 20-ounce thing. Now I put ice in mine, but just if you went by, I'm not kidding, if you go one 20-ounce drink, 100 carbohydrates,
Oh my God.
96 carbohydrates.
Oh.
Yeah.
It made me want to just go, I wanted to become bulimic last night.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
I'm like, I worked so hard. I didn't eat my tortilla and then I drank 100 carbohydrates. In other words, I covered the carbohydrates.
You got them.
I covered it, yeah.
But the thing is about that was dinner time,
Yeah,
so you're probably good. But if that happens at lunch, you still can't skip supper.
okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Because within 2 hours after you eat something, your body has taken care of that food. It has metabolized it, turned it into energy, or turned it into storage.
Right.
Do you know what we call storage, guys?
Fat.
Yep. Okay. So that's a mindset to keep in mind. We can't think, oh my gosh, I ate enough food for a week, or I ate enough food for the whole day. Doesn't work that way.
But for the most part, every time I have something, like when I had the taco in front of me, Carol was sitting right next to me. And she goes, it's all about choices. I'm like,
Yes,
oh,
yes.
choices.
Yeah.
It's all about choices. Now that I know, okay,
Answer questions. Alrighty, let's see what's next. Okay, what's next is everybody stand up and push your chair back away from you. Just follow me, please. Open, shut them, give a little clap. Open, shut them, lay them in your lap. Creep them slowly upward to the rosy cheek. Open wide your shining eyes and through your fingers peek. Open, shut them, to the shoulders fly. Then like little birdies, let them flutter to the sky. Stretch, guys. Falling slowly downward. Nearly, don't bend your knees to the ground. Quickly raise them, all the fingers twirling round and round. Open, shut them, give a little clap. Open, shut them, lay them in your lap. Now tell me how you feel right now.
I
You
feel
feel any-
stretched out.
Do you feel any changes in your muscles? Do you know what we did right then? We did pretty much a range of motion. Now, children don't have problems like we do because they move, you know. And as we get older, it is more than important than ever to keep moving, because if we don't, we'll become like the Tin Man. Okay, go ahead and sit down. The scripture tonight is from Leviticus, and it really sounds like it's from the New Testament. Do not seek revenge or hold a grudge against any of your people. Instead, love your neighbor as you love yourself. For I am the eternal one. So there's a couple of messages here. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And we can't hold grudges against ourselves either. So if we make a mistake, we need to forgive our mistake and start over and just press on. I've had people so down on themselves because they messed up that they just said, oh, what the heck, and didn't try anymore. And who does that hurt? You know? So we really need to love ourselves enough to make the choices. You know, it's really
And to forgive horchata.
and to forgive horchata. See.
Good.
So muscles are important, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about some simple exercises. It is not necessary to go to a gym to get a really good workout. It is not necessary to spend a lot of money to get a really good workout. I have never belonged to a gym. My daughters have begged me and begged me. I don't want to spend the extra hour out of my day to drive to the gym and to drive back. I'd rather just have everything at home and use it, you know, at my convenience. And right now, during the school year, I do we call it the Rutledge bus run. That's one of my daughters, and she goes to work at 6:30. Jason goes to work at 6:30, and they have 4 more little children that need, 3 more little children that need to get off on the bus. And so I get there at 6:30. I don't have to wake Sarah up until 7:15. So I get there, bring my little breakfast in my brown bag, eat my breakfast, and then I exercise. And then I take Sarah to the bus, and then the little boys don't have to get up till 8:15, so I finish my exercise and get my reading in, and it works out. If I don't have to go to the Rutledges, I sleep till 8. And everything is just moved out, moved beyond. But I try very hard to exercise 6 times a week. And 30 minutes a day will affect change. 3 times a week, 30 minutes, will pretty much be a maintenance program, as long as you're eating a careful nutrition plan. But I like to eat, and so I need to do 6 times a week to maintain. Plus I like to exercise. So muscles do several things, and I don't know, what do you think of when you think of muscles? What do you think of when you think of muscles?
Stronger.
Okay, you think of strengthening. Okay, anybody else think of anything?
Flexibility.
Flexibility, okay. They do a lot of stuff. Our skeleton would not be in form without muscles. Muscles hold our body in shape. Muscles hold all of those foot bones in our feet in shape.
Duct tape.
They hold our joints together. Absolutely, absolutely. Muscles make it possible for us to breathe. You know, if people are paralyzed, what happens to this breathing mechanism? Sometimes they need assistance breathing. Muscles make it possible for our food to digest. Makes it possible for our body to eliminate waste, liquid and solid. And those are our smooth muscles. What about this big, huge muscle in our chest that we hope never stops? That's all muscle. So muscles help move circulate our blood. If you stop and think about it, that's really what keeps us going. It's the engine that our fuel feeds. So we eat carbohydrates, it feeds our muscles keep us going. But we have a responsibility to those muscles, especially as we get older, because we will turn into Tin Men. And it's harder and harder not to be the Tin Man. So that's an important thing. So regular planned body movement becomes important as we age. And the question is, do I love myself enough? So we're just going to go over a few of these little exercises tonight. And I want to share with you, this is my whole gym right here, my whole gym. Okay? This stepper I got at Walmart years and years ago. I just happened to be standing at the right place. You know, when the guy comes along and marks everything down, 25 bucks. It was 50. So I thought, yeah, I can do that. So this is what I do on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is resistance. On Sunday, it's a day of rest. Okay? And it's really important to give your body that day of rest. So these I keep in my kitchen pantry on the floor. So if I have a patient scheduled and they don't show up, it's real easy to just grab these. And we're going to go over some ways to use these dumbbells. And they don't have to be this heavy. The other thing I keep in my kitchen pantry, recognize those? Mm-hmm. Soup cans. You don't have to have dumbbells, although you can get them at Five and Below for $1. But soup cans will offer a little bit of resistance also. This is a 5-pound weight ball, which I absolutely adore. I can do almost all of my resistance training with just this weight ball. I do my crunches with this held between my knees. I can do my triceps like that. You can get your, I can't remember what these are called. Help me, lats with this. So a weight ball is really useful, and that's not very expensive either.
You think that's a 5-pound?
That's 5 pounds. I have a 5-pound and an 8-pound. And these ankle weights are very, very useful. And for people who have knee issues, it's probably the most important thing you're going to have in your house. Because if you do leg extensions, it is the muscles in your quads primarily that hold this knee in place. If you have nice quads, you probably have good knees. If your quads are a little jello-y, your knees may complain sometimes. And so it's really important to do those. That should be part of your daily process. So I do the knee extensions whether I'm doing this or whether I'm doing resistance. So let's just look at this for a minute. And all of these can be done at home with no equipment, pretty much. So squats, let's see, you can actually do squats. They're doing it there with a chair, but you can actually do squats with the wall behind you. And so if you lose you want to have your backside out like you're sitting in a chair, because that's what makes these quads work. Squats are really important. You can do that at home. Wall push-ups I absolutely love. I don't do them as wall push-ups, but you can do them on your stairs. But the important thing is listen to your body, okay? If you're not used to exercising and you're doing a wall push-up, the further you are from the wall, the more resistance you're going to get because you're using your own body as the resistance. If your shoulders complain, don't move your hands to a position where they're not going to. No pain, no gain is not true. Okay? Absolutely not true. If you are uncomfortable, you need to make some adjustments. And for those of you who go to the gym, your trainer will help you know what you can and cannot do. Toe stands, I do this when I pump gas. If you're just going like this, if you do this, if you have an empty gas tank, by the time you get your gas tank filled, your calves are going to be saying, I can tell you've been exercising. Well, that's an excellent exercise. So you can fit exercises in all day long. It doesn't have to be in one block of time. This finger marching is what we did with open shut them. It's just a range of motion. You can stretch like this. You can stretch like this, pull your shoulders back, and you can feel that in your back and in your neck and in your shoulders. Stretching is probably the most important thing to do. Someone who was giving a class on exercise, and she said, the dog stretches when it wakes up. They're pretty smart. You know, we should be stretching. A bicep curls. Now the physical therapist that used to give our classes when I was doing classes at Health Partners, her big thing was, this is not exercise. Because you're using the momentum of the motion. This is exercise. stop, 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 stop. And you can do it like this. You can do it like this if it doesn't hurt. You can do it like this if it doesn't hurt. But these shoulders are important. You only get two.
You know, and being somewhat musical, you were doing that to her beat, and that was just excellent. I'm sitting here going, da, da, da. That was great. I think that would be a good idea to do it to music.
Well, you can do it to music. I do it to the news. But this is also good.
See some time with the music. I like it.
I use 60s music, like Big Bad John and some of those, you know.
So if you have limited motion in your shoulders, just do it as far as you can and stop. And over time, you'll be able to increase that motion. But don't push through it because then you'll be going to an orthopedist. Okay? If you have a weight ball, you can do the same thing with a weight ball. So I don't take dumbbells to my daughters in the morning because I can use my weight ball. The other thing you can use is your ankle weight, like this.
Where did you find those?
I think I got them at Five and Below, or Walmart.
I like the size of this. I have.
I got these a long, long time ago, but and I got those when I had knee surgery years ago. When I was living in Paraguay, I was running on cobblestones. It wasn't a good idea. I really messed my knee up, but I made it for another 10 years. But I wasn't doing these exercises, and since the surgery, I'm very careful to do these exercises. But these you can roll up, and these are 2.5 pounds each. So you can use, this is what I use for dumbbells when I'm at my kids. This is a really good exercise for your triceps. But you can sneak stuff in during the day. It doesn't have to be a block of time that you set aside for exercise. Tom, you're probably thinking, you would just add stuff, because you have more muscle mass than we do.
Not necessarily. My job is fairly physical.
Mm-hmm.
So as you were going through all of that, I'm thinking of things that I'm lifting and moving and stretching up onto top shelves and dragging off the top, things of that nature.
And that absolutely builds muscle. So when you're doing that, be a little conscious of which way you're doing that so that you're getting the max out of the muscle movement. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I did have a gentleman one time who had diabetes, and he was a Pepsi truck driver. And Pepsi truck drivers are hauling Pepsi cases all over the place. But that's his maintenance program because that's what his body is accustomed to. That's what he does every day, every day. If you want to affect change, you must add 30 minutes more than your body is accustomed to. And it really should be a different kind of movement. It really should be a different kind of movement.
Looks like you're in for some jazzercise.
I'm not a person who sits, and Susan will tell you that. I mean, we have four cars, I mean.
1/3 of what we eat every time we have a meal or a snack, and it stores it in the form of glycogen. That glycogen can be changed into sugar just that fast. So if our blood sugar or our fuel starts to run out and our gas tank is going empty, this liver is helping us.
Well, see, even now at work, what I've started doing is a mid-morning snack.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't do that before. I'd get up, have my coffee, banana in the morning, and then I wouldn't eat again till lunchtime.
He did that after our
After
first meeting.
class, good.
So what I've started doing is taking some carrots, and around 9 o'clock in the morning I have the carrots. And
Carrot is a freebie, it is not a carbohydrate. You need to have a carb in the morning.
He should take some of mine. I eat way.
So if you have only a banana, that's 2 carbohydrates. I really don't recommend whole bananas at once because bananas are really fast, really powerful sugar. But you really need to have at least 3 carbohydrate servings for breakfast. You could actually have 4 because you do have a physical job. And that will help your metabolism increase. Didn't you say to me you had kind of leveled off in weight-wise?
Yes, I've kind of been maintaining it.
So if your goal is to lose a little bit more, you really need to feed your body better so it can turn loose of some of that stuff. And the stairs are a good place to do it because you have a handrail if you need it. You don't want to put yourself in a spot where you're going to lose your balance and fall. But is very good because that's another good quad muscle, okay? It's another very good quad muscle.
Is that thing you have right there called a stair stepper?
It's called a stepper. I don't know if it's
Oh,
called a
stepper.
stair stepper.
Well, I just wonder what it was called, a stepper.
I think it's just, I
I think
just
they're called
refer to it
steppers.
as a stepper. But it counts time and it counts calories. And if I do 30 minutes on it, depending on how, spiffy I'm doing it, I can get up to 200 calories in half an hour. So that's 190 grams for my peanut butter. Not 190 calories for my peanut butter. Okay, we did squats, step-ups. Oh, you have a second on the back side of yours. Overhead presses, and I kind of demonstrated that already. This is another really good one, and you can do this with your ankle weight on. You should not walk with ankle weights. That is not good for your hips, and it is murder for your knees, okay? Never walk with ankle weights. Nurses used to do that a lot, and that's why you all ended up with wrecked knees. This you can do, I don't know if I can hold it with my jeans on, but if you don't have, you have a bare leg, your skin will hold this in the crook of your knee, and you can out to the side. This gives a lot of resistance, and it will give a lot of, but you can just put the ankle weights on and do this. Now, two things are happening here, and when I'm doing it with the ball in my knee, the leg I'm standing on is getting exercise also. Because that muscle is holding me up, it's holding me down, and this muscle, the lat here, is getting a lot of exercise also. So when you're doing, the leg that's holding you is isometric, and that's good exercise, and the leg that you're moving is also. And these muscles here are the largest muscles in the body, and they're going to burn the most sugar. So if you're trying to lose weight, you want to keep this fuel going. There was a study done at the University of Utah, probably 10 years ago now, that inside of every muscle cell is something called a GLUT4 transporter. And that's a thing that stays inside the cell, goes to the cell wall, gets the fuel, brings it into the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, and that process is how our fuel is burned. So when we eat, our blood sugar rises, those cells bring in the sugar, burn it, and that's the whole process. If we are burning what we eat, we are not storing. What they found out was that if people exercise, you know what this is, right? Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I exercising? Absolutely. Am I burning sugar? Yep. I could not move that thumb if I didn't have any fuel in there to fuel that muscle. Does that take very much sugar? No. So if I exercise like this, and people who have a true allergy to exercise like this, and my neighbor runs 5 miles every morning, which he does, what they found out was that people who exercise regularly have a whole fleet of GLUT4 transporters in every muscle cell. And when I exercise like this, I'm lucky to have one. So who has the best chance of burning all the fuel that they're eating? Okay, do you see how that works? And that works if people have diabetes, that works for them also, but it works for everybody. So exercise makes our body more efficient at burning fuel.
If you don't exercise and you start exercising, can you get more? Do you get more
Yes,
of the
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely,
makes more.
absolutely. And it's very interesting because for people who have blood sugar issues, once I can get them, sometimes it's very hard to get them to move because they're just, this is how they exercise. But if I can get them to move after a meal and they're checking their blood sugars, they're going to go, oh my goodness, because that blood sugar is going to be much more in control. It's awesome how that works. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so the leg extensions, we did the hip raise. This motion here is also your quad muscle picking up. So, but I don't know if it does anything for your knee without being able to extend it. But a physical therapist can tell you. Because we had a physical therapist that taught this class when I was doing the classes before. But she always said, if your body, and listen, because your body will speak to you. So when that knee, the first complaint, that should be, don't keep pressing. That's how I wrecked my knee in Perry. It started to hurt, and I thought, no, I shouldn't have. Okay. So knee extensions, knee curls. Now the pelvic tilt, this is really a nice one, especially for ladies, because it works on our abdominal muscles as well. And you can see in the picture there, as you lie on the floor, you have your hands at your side, and you just bring your body up and down, up and down. The other thing you can do is press the small of your back to the floor and up, and to the floor and up. And that works your abdominals. Back extensions, this is a really good one. Now, when I do back extensions, I don't do them exactly like this, but I have my weight ball, I'm on my stomach, I have my weight ball between my ankles, between my feet hold them together. So I'm using muscles to hold the ball, because you can't hold the ball if you're not putting pressure there. And then I lie on my stomach, and this ball, I'm bringing the ball up and down, up and down. So that works the glutes really well. And then when I get done with my set of that, then I leave my legs straight, and I raise my arms forward and raise my legs back up with my legs straight.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
You have to start little.
Yes.
You start little, and you
Yeah.
might be very surprised.
I would be.
Then you could have an horchata. That could be your reward.
I don't know, there'll be an awful lot of them.
So chest and arm stretches are really important also. And if you're working on your pecs, then lay on your back. And this is really, really good. I remember when we were in Texas, and one of our neighbors, it was when gyms were just becoming a thing, and she invited me over. She was a trainer at the gym, and she put me on this machine, and she said, all right, now pull your arms together. And I went, it wasn't going to happen. But, it can happen now, but you have to start someplace. But this motion, especially if you're on your back and you're raising them up like this, these are the muscles that you're using to do that with. It will also, if you do it, you'll feel it. You'll be able to feel it. Listen to your shoulders, and if you need to, bend your arms more. Don't do it like this if your shoulders are complaining in the beginning. Did you have a
That's a
question?
good one. I just said that's a good one.
And you keep your legs straight, and you just bend down. Now that doesn't stretch me. Okay, that I can't even feel that there. But for somebody who is very stiff, that would stretch. But I can go all the way to the floor, and that is a stretch for me. I can feel that. But it's really important to stretch, and if you stretch at night before you go to bed, you'll be able to sleep better. Because that just sort of gives your muscles this nice little, quadriceps, and I have a stretch that I do on the floor that stretches everything, but I can't demonstrate it here, and I wouldn't recommend it for you guys unless you're really into exercise. It took me a long time to get there. But this is a nice quad stretch here. If you pull your leg all the way back, that stretches, but this will add to the stretch. And you can feel that in your quads.
Can you do that with your knee that you had
Yes, I
surgery?
can.
Really?
Yeah, now let me see if I can get my pants up. It's not really easy to do it with tight pants.
Oh, man. I'm impressed.
But I work with this knee, and sometimes it complains, and if it complains, I just don't push it. And so far it's so good, and I really love my knee. I tell it that all the time.
So do I.
Okay, next YouTube video on neck stretches, and I think Stretching is really, really an important thing. The thing that is about stretching is breathe. Has anybody ever gotten sore muscles from exercise? Do you know why you get sore muscles when you exercise? You have a buildup of lactic acid in your muscles. Do you know why you get a buildup of lactic acid in your muscles?
Because you don't exercise.
Because your muscles don't get enough oxygen to prevent the buildup of lactic acid. So when you go to the gym, don't they say to you all the time, breathe, 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 breathe? That's so that you get enough oxygen when you are exercising that you won't get sore muscles. And the same is true of stretches. You want to breathe into the stretch. You want always to have an ample supply of oxygen in your system. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to mention is sometimes it's easier if you have a buddy, okay? If you do your exercise with a buddy. I've exercised for a very long time. In fact, I can't remember when I didn't. And when we were living on Air Force bases, it was so easy to find somebody to walk with. So when we were at KSR, when we were still having babies, the lady across the street would come over and stay with my kids, and the lady next door and I would walk. But we used to call them our walk talks. We could talk about anything. We talked about our kids, we talked about the commander, we talked about whoever we wanted to talk about. But it was very healthy. Besides being healthy physically, it's healthy emotionally. And if you have somebody you do something with like that, you can buoy each other up, you know. After we moved back from Paraguay and I was working locally in a drug and alcohol facility, one of my nurses and I would get up at 5:30 in the morning and we would walk the neighborhood at 5:30 in the morning. And it was, you know, it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. You start out feeling good, you bond, it's just very, very good way to do it. So, if you feel the need, find somebody that you can partner with and use that friendship to carry yourself forward. So, Miss Laura, this is for you. Does anybody have any questions? Most important thing, eat first, exercise second. Okay? Eat first, exercise second. Don't run your car on empty.